Hi, I'm Ben and welcome to Motivation to Invest. Our mission is to motivate you to invest for your financial freedom. Whether that means escaping the 9-to-5 drudgery or just improving your quality of life, I'm here to help you by providing you with valuable investing tips and strategies.
I had great parents, both of whom were involved in lots of interesting activities and would come home and talk to us about the world of business or law or politics or the charitable activities they were involved in. And so that made us, myself and my sisters always thought about, well, what are we going to do out there? And, they had us as avid readers, and so we had pretty broad interest in reading. Scientists were a group that I gravitated to because this notion that just out of their heads they came up with neat ideas, that sort of fascinated me. So quite a bit of the time I thought I'd be a mathematician or a scientist. It was only when I got to Harvard that I started to think of this sort of all-absorbing hobby I'd had, computer stuff, which I just thought, okay, I got to get rid of this, and decided to do something serious. I started to realize, this is pretty serious, and it's actually more interesting and more impactful than going and trying to come up with a new theory in math or anything else. And so I had that dilemma for a couple of years, but eventually decided that computers really was a great thing to be involved with.
Yeah, I think you're 100% on the money in focusing. I would, instead of calling them role models, I call them heroes, actually. And I think if you tell me who your heroes are, I can tell you how you're going to turn out to quite an extent by this point in life. And I have been extraordinarily lucky in that none of my heroes ever let me down. I mean, the ones I came up with throughout their lives, I've never felt that I've been let down in any way with it. Number one was my dad, and had a huge impression on me. My wife, who is here, is one of my heroes. I mean, she is, in terms of she's taught me a tremendous amount, and never seen anybody any better with human beings than she is. And you can, Yogi Berra again said you can observe a lot just by watching. And I watched my dad, and I've watched her, and I had a professor, Ben Graham, back at Columbia, and had a huge impact on me. So I have been lucky in that I've had terrific heroes, and they haven't let me down. And that takes you a long, long way. I've gone through one or two periods where we're kind of tough in life, but not. I mean, everybody's had that, but having the right heroes will take you right through it. Suggestion for you: pick out the person in the class that you admire the most, and then write down why you admire them. Put down a list of qualities. You're not to name yourself in this. And then put down the one that, frankly, you could stand the least in the whole group, and put down the qualities that turn you off in that person. And look at that list, and you won't find it's a bunch of things like throwing a football 70 yards or anything of the sort. The qualities of the first one that you admire are qualities that you, with a little practice, can make your own, and which, if practiced, will become habit forming. The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. I mean, my age, I can't change any of my habits. I mean, I'm stuck. But at your age, you will have the habits 20 years from now that you decide to put into practice today. So I just suggest that you look at the habits you admire in others, or the behavior you admire in others, and make those your own habits, and you look at what you really find somewhat reprehensible in others, and just decide, those are things you're not going to do. Ben Franklin did that a few hundred years ago, and it still works today. And if you do that, you'll find that you convert all your horsepower into output. So with that sermon, I'll let Bill give you another.
The key resource you have to deal with is your time and how you spend time. And I'm pretty rigorous at looking back each year. I even get my friend Steve Ballmer to come in and look at my schedule and criticize, hey, you didn't really need to spend time on this or that. And that's pretty useful. because if I can get more time to sit down with the engineers, if I can get more time to get out with some customers, those are the things I just love to do. And it just gets me excited. It clears my mind, and so I'm always trying to make sure that I'm only doing the things that are important.
And it's pretty simple in my case. It's not IQ. I'm sure you'll all be glad to hear that. But everybody in this room has more IQ than they need to do my job. The big thing is rationality. And in other words, I always look at IQ and talent as sort of representing the horsepower of the motor. But then in terms of the output, the efficiency with which the motor works, that depends on rationality, because a lot of people start out with 400 horsepower motors and get 100 horsepower of output, and it's way better to have a 200 horsepower motor and get it all into output. And so why do smart people do things that interfere with really getting the output they're entitled to? And it gets into habits, into character, into temperament, and it really gets into behaving in a rational manner. It's not getting in your own way. As I say, everybody here has the ability absolutely to do anything I do and much beyond.
Don't fear failure. Almost everything that's turned out, I got turned down by Harvard. The best thing ever happened. Among other some good things that happened that didn't seem good at the time. Don't worry about, and don't let it eat at you or look back. Just keep going, because you're going to have some things and forget them. Go forward.
I'm Bill Gates, Chairman of Microsoft. In this video, you're going to see the future. Windows. Microsoft first came up with the Windows concept back in 1983. And today, the leading software users have switched into the Windows environment. It's really incredible how quickly our powerful applications like Word and Excel and PowerPoint have been adopted. It's not just Microsoft applications. Even companies like WordPerfect and Lotus have now come out with Windows applications. And every week we see new innovative work. It's really attracting all the innovation in the industry. We predicted this a long time ago, and now it's the future.
Move in the direction of the people that you associate with. So it's important to associate with people that are better than yourself, and actually the most important decision many of you make, not all of you, will be the spouse you choose. Right. And you want to associate with people who are the kind of person you'd like to be. You'll move in that direction, and the most important person by far in that respect is your spouse. I can't overemphasize how important that is, and you're right. The friends you have, they will form you as you go through life, and make some good friends, keep them for the rest of your life, but have them be people that you admire as well as like.
Design, that everything had to fit a certain aesthetic. The fact that he, with this little engineering background as he had, it shows that design can lead you in a good direction, and so phenomenal products came out of it. He knew about brand, I mean, in very positive sense. He understood, he had an intuitive sense for marketing that was amazing.
Generally speaking, investing in yourself is the best thing you can do. Anything that improves your own talents. Nobody can take it away from you. They can run up huge deficits and the dollar can become worth far less. You can have all kinds of things happen. But if you've got talent yourself and you've maximized your talent, you've got a terrific asset. And so that doesn't mean everybody should go to college, but it does mean that any way you find to improve. Communication skills are enormously important. I mean, I took a Dale Carnegie course that I paid $100 for, and it was worth a college degree. At least I thought it was. Maybe this interview will convince people.
Read and read. I probably read 5 to 6 hours a day. I don't read as fast now as when I was younger, but I read 5 daily newspapers. I read a fair number of magazines. I read 10Ks. I read annual reports, and I read a lot of other things too. So I've always enjoyed.
There's a similarity between things that make it easy because this thing is like this other thing.
And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead, smash that like button, and definitely subscribe. See you next time.